Regardless of whether you're new to buying gold, it's a good idea to stop every now and then and ask yourself why people buy it in the first place. I'm going to give 4 good reasons to buy gold, and 1 reason not to. And just because I know how to multitask, I'm going to spin some gold coins and hopefully make this a little less boring. It probably comes as no real surprise that I think it's a good idea to buy gold. But there are people who don't, so I'm going to start this off with some views from outside the choir. And up until recently, Warren Buffett has been a popular example of someone known to say that gold really doesn't do anything beyond looking pretty. Because it does not generate earnings, it doesn't pay dividends. Basically, gold is an unproductive asset, according to Mr. Buffett. But on the other side of the coin, we get the pumpers telling us gold is going to hit $25,000 per ounce by 2024. So I'm going to look at those 2 examples as extremes and find a center line between them because I think Warren Buffett probably lives a dramatically different lifestyle than the rest of us. And on the other side of that, I think probably the people calling for $25,000 or $50,000 spot price, well, they probably have a pretty different outlook as well. It's not that I want to squash anybody's ideas on where they think gold prices are going. It's just that I don't think we need the hyperbole to make the point for gold. And as a side note, I think there are pretty different reasons to buy silver. And I'm going to follow up on that in a future video. So if you haven't subscribed yet, well, you know what to do. Okay, I think that's plenty of background, so let's get into our reasons. We're going to start off with a softball pitch and say that gold is a safe haven store of wealth. And this is the one you'll hear most commonly, and it is more or less correct. Gold is less volatile than the market in general, and it typically has an inverse relationship to the dollar, meaning that gold rises when the dollar falls. There are plenty of contradictions to this that have to do with interest rates, private debt, and consumer confidence, really a whole host of other factors. And anyone who tries to convince you that they know the formula to gold prices going up, and that's the only path gold is on, probably has something to sell you. But as long as we understand there's a deep history with points of illogical contraction, we're relatively safe planning for gold to hold its value over the long run. And if you want an example of a time period that doesn't follow the expected rules of gold, we can take a look at the year 2000 and the dot-com bubble burst. Gold was trading down considerably from its prices in 1980. And it took a while to get its act together. Really, it took about 4 years. But if we had a time machine, that would have been a really great point to go back and back the truck up to the mint and load up, because that is about the time that it really took off. And that brings us to the second reason to buy gold, and that is that gold is a hedge against both inflation and uncertainty. So expanding on the idea that gold is a safe haven, gold can actually do more than simply hold its value. It can also act as a hedge against both inflation and global uncertainty. As long as you look at that over time, you'll see that gold has stayed ahead of the rate of inflation. And then in times of acute socioeconomic events like financial crashes, war, or pandemics, you'll see the price of gold sharply increase. Now, if we're being fair, this is the time that gold is going to be its most volatile. We actually will see a dip prior to those increases typically, and there are a lot of reasons for that. Really, it depends on each time, but most recently, one of the things that we saw was that as stocks really began to tank, that people were selling gold to free up some cash to cover that loss. And looking beyond that initial dip, gold is up now 25% in 2020, so I think it's fair to say that owning gold has been a great way to preserve both your financial and your mental well-being. So what do we have for number 3? Gold is tangible, portable, and liquid. Unlike stocks, bank account balances, or digital currencies, gold is tangible. It's portable and it's liquid. You can see it, you can hold it, you can pack it up to take it with you. And you really can't overstate the calming ability of knowing that you have months of expenses covered by the gold you have stowed away in your home safe. And even if you're just getting started with gold, there's a huge benefit to having any amount on hand. And unlike other physical assets like real estate or cars, if you want to call a car an asset, It's very quick and easy to sell gold, to convert it into cash as needed. So regardless of whether you're doing that close to home or abroad, it really doesn't matter where you want to sell it because gold is valuable everywhere. And that brings us to number 4. Gold is private. Gold is a great savings method that doesn't rely on the banking system. You can store, accumulate, move, or use your money without having to rely on any outside party. Now, I don't have any real distrust of the government or banks personally, but I still think it's good to have some amount of physical gold free and clear of prying eyes. It's a little like having cash, but for all the reasons I've mentioned up to now, it's better. And the last reason I have is actually a reason not to buy gold. This is actually the primary trigger for the video. You shouldn't be looking to gold to make money. Gold is meant rather to preserve your money, not to rapidly multiply it. And if you're new to gold and weighing it against investment options, you should keep this in mind. Because if you look at it objectively, it's clear that gold is a pretty poor performer when compared to stocks or bonds or other investments. It's better to think of it as a saving strategy. But you're going to come across lots of clickbait videos that give wildly optimistic near-term prices for gold and silver. And even though most of the creators will try to walk back their crazy estimates, they're still propagating the idea that you can buy gold or silver in order to 2x or 3x or even 10x your money. And that is called pumping. And a really important point that isn't going to be covered in those videos is that if gold were to see $25,000 or $50,000 per ounce prices in the next few years, that would come on the back of a totally crashing dollar where everything costs 10x or 20x. So I'm personally hoping and maybe planning for the price of gold to rise a little bit. What I'm not hoping for or planning for is everything else to come crashing down. Now there's a little bit of hope for the best, plan for the worst. But the value of gold is clear to me even without total meltdown of society. And I wanted to get a practical view out to offset some of the crazier, the wild, the sometimes ridiculous videos that I'm seeing popping up, especially in the last couple of weeks. Now this video isn't going to get nearly the number of views as some of those others. Quite frankly, it's just not going to be as fun. And it might be a little bit of a lightning rod, for some of the pumper comments. I'm fully expecting that. But I want to be clear on one thing. I think everyone should have gold. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm going to say that over and over. But there's a level of security and peace of mind that comes from owning gold that's really hard to beat. And if you want to look at it from the hobby side of things, well, there are a lot of ways you could spend your time that would be a lot worse than collecting gold. On top of it being a solid way to store and accumulate wealth or put together a plan for emergency needs, it's just fun to get a hold of gold coins. And it's also fun to show this stuff off in these videos. This video in particular was one that I really didn't want to do because I know I'm going to be dealing with negative comments from pumpers. But I wanted to get it out of the way before getting back to the lighter side of stacking gold. Now, I've been doing this since 2008, and I've seen a lot of weird things in the forums. And I started making these videos to try to take some of the weirdness out of stacking gold. I think it's actually something that should be far more mainstream than it is today. I've actually been pretty surprised by how big the community is on YouTube, and there's some really great content channels out there. Now, I know there's a few that kind of trigger me, that a few of them kind of led to this video, but I'm looking forward to continuing to do this. Again, I'm looking forward to having a little bit more fun with it, and hopefully I didn't take anybody off into a negative path for too far. This is my 25th video and hopefully the most boring video I do. I'm guessing it's going to be the most thumbs down video, so if this was helpful at all, those thumbs up are going to help balance that out. And I'm also looking forward to the comments on this one, so let me know what you're up to, and let me know if I missed something obvious in the video. And if you stuck around this long, thanks again. I appreciate it. This channel just came up on the 1,500 subscriber count. I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate the support, and hope you all have a fantastic day.